Hey, my wonderful, wonderful, beautiful, beautiful, and lovely people. A pleasant afternoon to you. All right, beautiful people. So I saw the video of Bishop T.D. Jakes, and at the tail end of his message, the hour-long message, there was a section because he was seated. Perhaps he wasn't feeling well from the day. I don't know. But still went and preached, because sometimes even when you're not well, you have well and you have really not well. You know how it goes. So sometimes you still do your job as required. And you see, like, the mic, I don't know if it fell out of his hand. The news media personnel said that he lowered his mic, and he said, like, him, in a chair, kind of not steady, a rock back, like you see him look like him rocking. And then you see, I guess people realize something is off, and quite a number of people came to his aid and rescue, which is good. Thank God, that in case anything, they would quickly, deal with it, that they wouldn't watch him, go down, so to speak. In the aftermath, I saw him, boy, he looks, really, I said, oh my God. You wonder if it is as though it had aged him, because when he was getting up, I said, oh my goodness, wow, I wonder if he met in an accident. Before knowing what had happened, I saw the aftermath video before the one, the real one, where what took place at the in the church took place. And he was saying that he's ready to die, if so be it. He's not afraid of death and whatnot. And I guess they were saying, just calm, Bishop, take it easy, because he was trying to get up, and you could see, like, it took a lot out of him to get up, because and I know a lot of people, they have their perspective on what has happened or what is happening to the bishop. But before all of the hullabaloo, the saga, the rumors, and all of some of the things that may be true about him that has come out from ever since, in my own perspective, I've often said to myself, he seemed to, one of those, what you call it, I'm not sure which one of them, but I've always said to myself, he looks like a diabetic, like somebody with, I don't know if it's type 1 or type 2, I don't know them. I remember years ago reading upon them. I've often gotten them confused. But I suppose the one that you have to, maybe is a type 2 is a more dangerous of the two, I don't know. But I'm figuring that from ever since, he seemed to, always have a weight issue, and he always seemed ill, like he suffers from, I've always, in my mind, I said, he looks like somebody with diabetes. I don't know why I said that. I don't know. I just used to say that in my mind, I never had that discussion with anybody about his health or so, but in my mind, I've always said that, because he always seemed very choked up and chunky, even as a phenomenal preacher. Phenomenal, his style of preaching is, phenomenal, to the point where he had actually come into Time magazine. So, it's almost like getting a Grammy, basically, the equivalent in that own, in that sense. And I just suspect that perhaps he has always, maybe for a number of years, had some health issues. If you realize his weight and his stomach is always protruding. So we need to understand that whether you're a churchman or a churchwoman or you're not, if you have a health issue, you have a health issue. Additionally, you have to also realize that he's getting older now. It's not the T.D. Jakes that we used to see back in the day. When that man preach, man, you feel like he will do somersault, you go kill Pupalik, boom flick. You know what I mean? You feel like that you got the way how him preach. What he's underwinding, and you see his older daughter, I think she's the older of the two. I think so. Sarah Jakes, not the other one, not Coretta, is the lead, the lead pastor now for her church, for the church, the Potter's House, and so on. And I leave everything in the hands of God. One of the things that people need to realize is that, whether you're a Christian or not, challenges will come to you. I'm not here to say he's strayed. I doubt it very much that he's a man who worships God and worships the devil. Like many of us, he perhaps have made mistakes that, only God can be his judge, and only God can condemn, and only God can restore once you seek it. One of the reasons why David was considered a man after God's own heart was that it has nothing to do with perfection. It's just that once David realized he did something wrong. Once that realization comes to him, he never made any qualms in repenting and trying his best to do better, you know, and saying, Lord, I've sinned only against you. He was humble. His heart was broken and contrite, genuine, not no crocodile tears, no fake tears, you know what I mean? And he tried his best, as best as he, and he always consulted God. When I say always, not in everything, I was using the word always loosely to say, generally speaking, David consulted God. I even said, boy, God is, in a sense, not lauding the wrongs that David did, but especially the one with the taking out of the husband and the adultery. I said, boy, God, you know, maybe if David never do that, he would almost be perfect. He would almost, because a man who consulted God, he respected and honored God. And naturally, you know, he would not have consulted God about the killing of Uriah and the sleeping with Bathsheba. He knows he was wrong. He knew it. You know, I think David had this sin for a year, but he was struggling because he knew the wrong he did. He wasn't comfortable as a man of God. And when the prophet Nathan came to him and put the story in a parable and said, that man is you. So it's like David said, no, why? You know, but he needed that release. You know, and his child was taken. No matter how he was fasting and praying when the child was sick, as soon as the child got better, he got up, bathed, ate, and it's like the guards were probably like, oh my God, you know, but he knew because he communed with God. And that is one of the reasons why God said, you know, this man was a man after my own heart, that even after generations to come, his name would be called and people from his lineage would be on the throne. T.D. Jakes, in spite of everything that has happened to him, that has, you know, that he would have done, we are all imperfect, so he would have done things that are not pleasing, just like the rest of us. I only pray that God's healing will be upon him. I pray that, you know, that if he has missed the mark, that God will restore him. You know, I remember Hezekiah, when Isaiah was coming in to the temple, he gave him a message to tell Hezekiah to get his house in order. You know, because today you shall die. And, you know, Hezekiah looked to the heavens and said, God, basically he's saying, you know, I'm not perfect, but I'm a man of God. I did my, you know, I really honored and served you and so on. And because of what he put forward to God, which was true, he could come with facts. It's not like him gossip and try to mash up other people's lives with lies and slander and did iniquity and all manner of evil. He had a portfolio to say, God, I did. And God said, all right, that is true. And on the basis of that, I will honor you with 15 more years. On the basis of that, I will honor you with 15 more years on the planet. So, you know, I'm sure that T.D. Jakes has such a portfolio in spite of all of what he has gone through. I've never dreamed the day that I would have seen anything happen like this to this man of God. But the reality is, it happens. David did what he did, repented. I don't know if T.D. Jakes, some of what was said about him, you know, in terms of the whole Diddy thing, I can't say it is true. I give him the benefit of the doubt. I would more say that some of the maybe some things were foolish, you know, in terms of the whole entire saga. Some things were foolish, but in terms of anything else deeper than that, I'm not gonna get there. People, be careful. So if you don't have any proof, you have to be careful how you're accusing people of things. Be very careful. But, you know, sometimes God arrests people because in the book of Ezekiel 33, it's like it says, a watchman. You have to, if you see somebody going down the wrong road, you go to them and approach them in love. Because if something should happen to them and they die, the blood of that person will be on your shoulder and God is going to hold you accountable. So I don't know. Sometimes we commit sins of omission and commission, things we're supposed to do and not do, things we're not supposed to do and we do. We have to be very careful. But in spite of all of that, you know, may God's will be done in his life. I still will pray for healing, restoration, renewal before God, and that, you know, he will, in everything, it's always God wants you to go deeper. He wants to expose the flaws in you and want you to go deeper in him. And that is what I wish for T.D. Jakes and his family, that they grow deeper in Christ. Guys, you know what to do. Read TikTok and YouTube. Subscribe. Give me one of them line there. Please, 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 please.